Hi there, class of 2024 parents. Deacon John Wilson here. I just want to talk about in this particular video about an area of the FAFSA where you're involved in it and you have to make a username and password for yourself and your students. By the way, this year, both parents need to have a username and password. That's if they're married and even if one of the parents, if it's a single parent who's remarried, both parents have to provide a username and password and their information, and the students have to have a username password. So you could have three people in a house that need a username and password. So we better go over what it takes to make a username and password, because I'm seeing some recurring kind of errors in making those. And I don't think it seems like it's happening because excuse me, more people actually need to fill out the FAFSA up to 3 in a home. So there's 3 chances, to not do the password right. The other reason is that the way the FAFSA works this year, it's so unforgiving of certain peculiarities about the username and password that we should go over real quick. All right, first of all, the name of the student should match the name, or the parent should match the name on the Social Security card, not the name you're known by. You got to remember hyphens too, because sometimes names become hyphenated because of divorce and parents when their students are young, or in the parents themselves. And sometimes you've been going by your married name, but really your Social Security card never changed. So it's the name as it appears on that card. Now, this presents a problem, as it did in 1 or 2 cases this year with me, that I work with families, because somebody doesn't even have a Social Security card, perhaps. So now they've got to go online and set up an account, and maybe they can get their name that way, or they have to go to the Social Security Administration, set up an appointment. And that's okay, because there's plenty of time. But that's one common error, that the name is not the correct name, is not the name that's actually on the Social Security card, okay? All right, so the next possibility is the Social Security number is wrong. Sometimes people know their Social Security number by heart for years, but yet it's a different Social Security number that's actually on the card, or there could be numbers interchanged. I saw that last year a couple times. 2 numbers are just interchanged and then they don't match. Whereas before, the system was kind of forgiving because it might approve a username and password with minor information off, like a first name not fully spelled out or whatever. But now it's pretty important. The next thing it could be is the date of birth is wrong. That's very rare. I don't see that often at all. So if the fields are all correct, now we have to worry about the email address. It has to be a unique email address, not used by anyone else. And now, parents, this is where you're vulnerable, particularly my moms. You'll want to use your information into your youth. And that worked in school, when you wanted to see the things your teachers were telling your student. It works for that, or coaches and whatever. But you can't do it here. They have to have a unique username, and you have to have a unique username. When you start having the same passwords, email addresses, it gets kind of sticky. By the way, they all could have the same password, so it's not that. But when you start using the same email address on your student and you, again, you might get the username and password approved somehow. But then when you try to be invited in on the FAFSA, or the student tries to log in for the FAFSA, they can't get in, because now you have 2 people having the same email address. It gets sticky because you can't always change the source data. In those cases, unfortunately, you'll have to call the FAFSA phone number. I'll include their phone number in the description block below. I don't recollect it right now. It's an 800 number. And you'll have to tell them you need to reset your username and password. It'll take a couple of days. They'll send you an email, or your student an email, whoever it is, an email. Then when you set up that username and password, don't use the same email addresses, and take all the other precautions I mentioned before. All right, these are some of the most common mistakes. Occasionally you see, I can't think of anything else that will be a problem, because the system will stop you from using the same usernames. Usernames cannot be duplicated, but passwords can be, the whole house can have the same password, but the username is what makes it unique. The email addresses for each make it unique. And I think the thing I should mention now is the cell phone number. Don't use the same cell phone number that for you and your youth. That doesn't seem to logically work out with all these double secure codes and, you know, 2 authorizations to get on. And so separate email addresses, separate, you know, cell phone numbers. I know parents, you want to have your number in for your student, but it's not going to work out here. Now, obviously, if I get those on a data sheet, I don't know what to do. So none of those are, all those errors are understandable, but you have time, which is the last point I want to make. Now, don't rush this, take your time. Gee, in California, your Cal Grant deadline is April 2nd. And a lot of you are wanting to get your FAFSAs in early, and you're stressed, but you're not going to get any federal aid. And some of you are not going to get institutional grants because your income's too high. But you're rushing to get it in, you're stressed. Just slow down is what I say. Just slow everything down, and you'll get through this. You'll get everything done properly. God bless you, parents. I hope that helps. In this coverage I made of the usernames and passwords, so they're not explicitly asked from parents. They do associate them in the background. So you need to take heed, maybe watch this video a couple of times before you start the FAFSA, if you're waiting for things to calm down anyway to start. All right, thanks much. Again, any comments you can place below, great. Please remember to like and subscribe. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this that will be helpful to you during this time. Feel free to do that. God bless you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.